All right, so today what we need to talk about, real simple concept, and that is just solving equations that have radical form, okay? Simple radical form. And so what we need to talk about real briefly is the fact that these numbers right here, if you see this little root right here, this root, it's called a square root, right? And a square root has a 1/2 power, okay? So what that means essentially is that these guys are written as 2x plus 4 to the 1/2 power. That's what that means. It's just a fancy way of writing it, I guess. Now, ultimately, really the only thing you need to do here is you need to understand how to get rid of that 1/2 power. Like, we don't want to distribute it. We don't want to do any of that nonsense. What we want to do is we want to get rid of it and eliminate it. And so to eliminate that garbage, what we got to do is we got to think about power rules. And I know it's a little early and we haven't really talked too much about exponents, but basically to get rid of a 1/2, you have to square both sides. So like I'm just squaring everything. And so what happens is that root goes away then. So whatever the number is on the bottom is what you're going to have to raise the power to of every little piece. So we're going to look at a few examples here. But what's going to happen is basically all this is going to come back down. 2x plus 4 equals 3x minus 6. And here I have a simple, easy, multi-step equation that we need to solve. So the root went away by squaring both sides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my line. I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. I'm going to get negative 1x plus 4 equals negative 6. I'm going to subtract 4 from both sides. I'm going to get negative 1x equals negative 10. Divide by negative 1. And now x is going to equal 10. That's as simple as it is, really, okay? So let's take a look at some more examples so that you can kind of understand what I mean here. All right, so taking a look at this next example, number 2 here. There's a little 3 out here. It's kind of big right there, but basically anytime you see something with like a root and then a little number out here, that means that that's your bottom number. And so like before, we had the 1/2, right? There was no 2 written there because it's just assumed that it's going to be 1/2. But if there's a 4 there, it'd be 1/4. If it's a 6 there, it'd be 1/6, and so on and so forth. So when we look at something like this, to undo it, we're just going to raise it to the 3rd power. Because we don't know how to work with that, and we don't want to work with it. But whatever I do to one side, remember, I got to do to the other side. So I have to understand to keep it balanced, I just have to change everything. So what's going to happen here is all this stuff on the inside is going to drop down. And then all I have to do is put that in a calculator, and 3 times 3 times 3 is 27. That's what that means. And now I have something simple to solve. So all I'm going to do is subtract 2 from both sides. You get 4x equals 25. Divide by 4. X equals 25 over 4. That's good enough for me. I mean, you can make it a decimal if you want to. So that's kind of how it looks. All right, so looking at this next one, we have a 4 on the outside. So basically all it means is that I need to take and raise this whole thing to the 4th power to get rid of it. We have to undo it. Whatever I do to one side, we got to do the other. Luckily, they're both 4s, right? And we're not going to do anything right now where it's different like that. So you got 4x minus 6 is now equal to 9. You're going to add 6 to both sides. You can get 4x equals 15. Divide by 4. X is 15 over 4. So really that's all you do when you're solving these the simple radical forms. You're just making sure that you get rid of that radical by just undoing it. And it's really easy to undo it. You just raise it to the power of whatever is on the outside. If there's nothing on the outside, it's a 2. And so you're going to raise it to the 2. Just assume that it's a 2 there if there's nothing on the outside. All right, later.